During the blind audition,
Hmm.
I started off being nervous because it was weird performing to the back of chairs,
True.
before the chairs around. It was just kind of like, this is weird. It was a sigh of relief. I was like, finally, thank you. You know, it was exciting. It was exciting. What's funny, probably like 10 years ago, I auditioned for The Voice a couple of
Oh, you
times.
did. This was your second audition.
No, this was the third audition. The first
Oh,
two, I didn't make it to TV.
okay.
There was a guy who came in and was like, and was talking to the other people, pointing at us, and we were like, "What is happening?" And so one of the guys ended up coming to tell us, like, yeah, that guy was telling us that you're a famous singer from America. And I was like, I mean, I don't know if I'm famous, but I am a singer from America. And so they all wanted to take pictures and stuff like that. We went to Bhutan and there was there was a kid there who was following us around
Okay.
inside of one of the zongs. And we were like, why is this kid following us? He was maybe like 10 or 12 or something.
Hmm.
He finally taps me and he's like, I watched you on YouTube. You're a singer, right?
Oh, that's so lovely.
And I was like, yeah. And so he was really excited to take a picture and like ask me questions and stuff. So there's been a lot of positive
Hmm.
interactions with fans who watched the show, who enjoyed what I did.
Please let us know, how did you get into your music journey? So, what was your first musical performance? When did you realize that you're going to be a singer one day?
I grew up in church, and all of my older siblings, I'm the last of nine,
Oh,
all of my older siblings sing. So I kind of was following them and wanted to do what they did because it looked so fun. And I would say the first performance that I can remember, I was in elementary, maybe third grade, so
oh,
like 8 years old or something like that. And I performed Billie Jean in front of
Michael
my,
Jackson, Billie Jean.
yeah, in front of my elementary school. Um, and then as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to be an entertainer on stage, singing
Oh,
and all that.
so that's your earliest memory. Like most third grade kids, they have, they're scared of the crowd, they have this consciousness, but you seem to be a very confident kid even when you were young.
Yeah, I don't I don't know if it was confidence as much as I didn't understand the association to embarrassment.
Oh, so you had no stage fright. You did not feel shy of singing in front of people. Oh, you just sang your heart out there.
Yeah, I just got up there and I did the best that I could and I had fun. And I figured, as long as I'm having fun, if somebody makes fun of me, that's okay because they're having fun too. We're all having fun. I guess, I don't know. It's so long ago, I don't really remember, but I do remember not really being nervous or,
Okay. So since the third grader Divine was not nervous performing for the first time, that also the song by the legendary Michael Jackson, did you feel any sort of nervousness on the first day when you gave the auditions for The Voice?
I did. During the blind audition,
Hmm.
I started off being nervous because it was weird performing to the back of chairs,
True.
before the chairs around. It was just kind of like, this is weird. And so yeah, I didn't really care for that. But then, I started turning my attention to the audience and
Hmm.
then I felt more comfortable
Hmm.
because, that energy is going back and
Hmm.
forth and people are having a good time. And I think that's what I thrive on.
So how did you feel when the judges turned their chairs and selected you?
It was a sigh of relief. I was like, finally, thank you. It was exciting. It was exciting. There was a lot going into that audition and a lot that was riding on it. And so I
Hmm.
felt the pressure kind of
Have
uh
come to an end.
release, yeah, release at that point. So I gave up a lot to go audition. So I'm glad that it worked out.
Oh, that's really lovely. So, what made you decide to audition for the show first? What were you doing before the show, and how did you decide that you want to be on the biggest, musical reality show for the US?
You know what's funny? Probably like 10 years ago, I auditioned for The Voice a couple of
Oh, you
times.
did. This was your second audition.
No, this was the third audition. The first
Oh,
two, I didn't make it to TV.
okay. Oh.
Uh, I got to, there's a lot of shout out to everybody that auditions for these shows because there are a lot of unseen auditions that
Hmm.
happen. And a lot of good singers never get to the
Hmm.
stage. I don't know if I was one of them. I don't know if I was good or not, but I know I never got to the voice stage. And so before auditioning, I was performing with the band, Soto Band,
Hmm.
and um, my videos got to somebody that got my information and reached out and
Hmm.
asked me to audition for season 27. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, okay, well, I'll audition and then like whatever happens, happens. And so I auditioned and then I got in. I was
Oh
like,
yeah, that's lovely. So, what did you do different, like in the span of a decade, that you did not do in your first two auditions? So, you think that there was something very different that you had done in your this very audition that made you like a star almost?
yeah, I worked a lot on my craft. The last 5 years, 6 years, Thursday through Sunday, every
Hmm.
week of the year, I was on stage singing in front
Oh,
of all different types of crowds. Crowds that
okay.
liked what we did, crowds that didn't really like what we did.
Hmm.
And so it allowed me to practice who I am on stage and what
Hmm.
I could do. And it got to the point
Hmm.
where I guess they liked it.
Hmm, that's that's really nice. Since you talked about like you have performed among crowds that have not been very appreciative of your craft, how do you handle rejections or per se criticism? Because you have a very active presence on social media also, and all of us know how stressful can dealing with trolls and criticism can get. So, what do you do to like handle the criticism?
The first thing, I don't engage as much as I
Oh,
want to.
hmm,
I don't typically engage with people that are being nasty on social
okay,
media or even in person. I just don't engage. The only way to put out a fire, in my opinion, is to suffocate it in
okay,
that
that's lovely.
sense. And then I'm also surrounded by a lot of people who love me and also tell me
Hmm,
the truth. So when I'm thinking of responding to some of these criticisms or negativity, they tell me, like just don't
not
engage
worth
because
it.
like, nobody wins. And you go back and forth, and then so I typically just don't engage. And in person, I always get back centered in gratitude that I have the opportunity to even be on stage, to be doing music, what I love to do. There was a time where, I've had multiple knee surgeries, so I couldn't stand up
Hmm,
or dance or jump or
all
anything. So
right.
to be able to do that, I
Hmm.
always go back to a state of gratitude. And it's like, well, whether anybody likes what I do or not,
Hmm.
I'm enjoying myself.
Sure.
So I'm going if I need to enjoy myself by myself, that's okay. I'll do it.
That's really lovely to be proud of yourself before others are. That's how you get so much confidence. So now, when you were there at the show and you had all these very lovely singers out there, each one of them extremely talented, did you ever feel intimidated or did you doubt your confidence a bit? Like, how am I gonna be competing to these people? Would I even be as good as they are, or what would happen? Did these doubts ever crept in you?
Yeah, I mean, there are some phenomenal singers that were
Hmm.
on the season with me, and in hearing them sing, I'm like, wow, they're so good. Oh my God, they're amazing.
Yeah.
And then talking to my brother, the Renz, there was a couple of conversations we had. One of which is that everybody has something that makes them special, that makes them stand out from everybody
Hmm.
else. That was the first thing. And then the second thing is, although the competition is, like who's the best, in actuality, it's just whose perspective are you going by? For example, at the end of my tenure on The Voice, Adam Levine felt like I
Hmm.
won. Michael Bublé felt like Kelsey won.
Hmm.
So whoever wins is largely determined by the opinions of those who are voting. No, there isn't a season where, one person gets
Hmm.
all the votes and then everybody else doesn't. So it's really just about perspective. And some people like some music, some people don't. There are people that like Michael Jackson. There are people that don't like Michael Jackson. You
That's
know,
true. So, what have
trying
been
to
your
stay in the middle.
so
Mhm.
what have been your strong points that you felt is something that puts you at a better edge than other singers?
Definitely my stage presence. My
Oh. Hmm.
my one of my mentors some years ago,
Hmm.
Jonathan Weber, he called it magnetism.
Oh.
When I'm on stage, there's this charisma or
Hmm.
air where I invite you in to experience what I'm experiencing and have fun with me, so it feels very connected versus just standing there and like being in my own little bubble singing my song. So I think that separates me a lot from um, different artists that are out is that charisma, that magnetism that is entertaining to watch and be a part of.
So you're a performer and an entertainer. And yeah, I have seen your performances, especially the one that you have on your Instagram. You do have a very magnetic, I would say, personality. It's really mesmerizing when you sing, especially like Harder to Breathe. That was one of the most beautiful performances I have like seen for any reality show out there. So would you like share your experience regarding it? You received a lot of love and engagement on that performance of yours. So if you would just let us know what preparations went beside you preparing for that song, and how did you perform it so well
So I was really nervous when I got that song because I'm performing an Adam song
in
to
front?
Adam essentially. I'm like, oh, and so I wanted to pay homage to him for doing a phenomenal song while also making it my own.
Hmm.
And I felt like there was a fine line so that I didn't change it too much so
Hmm.
that it disconnected people who loved the song, him being
Hmm.
one of them. And so my brother and I, Lorenz, were talking, and we decided to combine Harder to Breathe
Hmm.
with the feel of Dirty Diana from Michael
Hmm.
Jackson. And so when I was communicating that with the band, they got it immediately. They knew exactly what I was talking about. And so when they put the rendition together, it felt right. And so, okay, so now that I have the music, I need to figure out vocally what do I want to do to be able to give myself the space to move around and embody the song while also delivering a strong vocal performance. And so, first thing that I did was because it is the voice, I got the vocal part down.
Hmm.
Uh, what I wanted to do, the runs, the inflections, the soft, the grunts, and
Hmm.
all of that. And then secondarily, I went to work on the physicality of it, bringing what I'm
Hmm.
singing to life
Hmm.
physically so that you get a well-rounded experience. And my brother, Lorenz, and one of who is now one of my best friends, his name is Darius J. He was also on that
Yeah, he
season.
was there on the interview with us. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, such a dope guy, such a dope
he
guy.
is.
So the th and so him as well, he's very much an entertainer in a different way, but he still has the physicality to bring you in. He does it a lot with his facial expressions
Hmm.
and vocal choices. And so both of them together were kind of helping me sculpt
Hmm.
this performance into what it was. And then, once you get on stage, especially with the type of production that they put behind you with the
Hmm.
costumes,
Hmm.
makeup, and the
Makeup.
lighting,
Yeah.
once you get up there, it's like okay, it's go time, and I made sure that the movements and
Hmm.
things were things that I felt were natural for me to
Hmm.
do.
Hmm.
So that way, when I got on stage and all of the energy and stuff is going crazy, I'm doing what I feel is natural. So I won't forget it or feel like I misstep because I was always taught nobody knows if you mess up unless you tell them.
Yeah.
So
True.
so it was fun. It was a great time.
So now that you have been on The Voice and you're a celebrity to begin with, so how different has been the fan interaction? And if there is any memorable fan interaction you would like to share the story about, we would love to hear that.
Yeah, so funny enough, my wife and I just got back from our honeymoon, which was
Hmm.
postponed because I was doing The
Oh, you
Voice.
were doing the show, yeah.
And one of the places we went to was India.
Oh my God,
And
that's lovely.
yeah, yeah, we went to Agra, saw the Taj Mahal and the
Okay.
Agra Fort, and we had a great time there. Taj Mahal is beautiful. And so while we were there, there was a guy who came in and was like and was talking to the other people, pointing at us, and we were like, "What is happening?" And so one of the guys ended up coming to tell us, like, "Yeah, that guy was telling us that you're a famous singer from America." And I was like, "I mean, I don't know if I'm famous, but I am a singer from America." And so they all wanted to take pictures and stuff like that. We went to Bhutan, and there was there was a kid there who was following us around
Okay.
inside of one of the zongs. And we were like, why is this kid following us? He was maybe like 10 or 12 or something.
Hmm.
He finally taps me and he's like, I watched you on YouTube. You're a singer, right?
Oh, that's so lovely.
And I was like, yeah. And so he was really excited to take a picture and like ask me questions and stuff. So there's been a lot of positive
Hmm.
interactions with fans who watched the show, who enjoyed what I did, and um yeah, it's been fun. I didn't realize that it was so far reaching, but it's been cool running into people. Even as I'm performing
Hmm.
now in America with the Soto band, there are fans who are coming to the shows from seeing me on The Voice,
Hmm.
follow me on Instagram, and then just popping up at my shows to come say hi. And yeah, it's quite the experience.
So you have become an international star. To find fans in India and Bhutan all the way on your honeymoon. I mean, I don't think everyone is that lucky. That must have been
Yeah,
one
yeah.
great experience to have, especially a kid following you around in a completely foreign country. That's really lovely to know, honestly. Like that must have been very good to feel.
Yeah, it felt so good. And then, to be able to connect with him, across the language barrier, and
Hmm.
it was fun. It was fun, very humbling for
Very
sure.
humble. That's very nice. So, what has been your reaction when you realized that maybe at this point of time you have to discontinue your journey with the voice when you were eliminated? Like, did you expect it? Were you not too prepared for the elimination? Like, how did you handle yourself around it?
Yeah, when it happened, I was excited for Kaya because
Hmm.
we had, all of the contestants, we stay close
Hmm.
throughout the competition. And Kai is such a lovely individual. So when
Hmm.
she saw she won, I was excited for her. And then secondarily, I was like, oh man, I lost. Not that I lost, I just wasn't chosen by Michael Bublé. But it did come as a shock because I felt like, while we were there, they didn't really air what all of the coaches said. But what the coaches said to me were indicative of a win. And I was like, so I'm taking it in. I'm like, wow, these are some of the best critiques that I've ever gotten for this performance. And then when I finished my performance, my hand in the air with the mic, the crowd went crazy for,
Hmm. True.
2, 3 minutes. And so it was like, oh my God. So the response, I did think that I had a really good shot at winning. And when I didn't, all I could think about was like, okay, I need to get off this stage and, it's time to move on. I had a great time
Hmm.
and I wouldn't have changed anything, and whatever is meant to be will be. So me not going farther than this is how it was supposed to be. So, I'll just accept what I've gotten so far, stay grateful, and
Grateful. True.
you never know what'll come from it. So
That's
just,
that's really
still
nice.
still trying to move forward as much as possible. It was tough though. It
Hmm.
was tough though, because it was such a great experience. And my friends were still in the competition,
Hmm.
Denise was still in the competition. And yeah, it was kind of, I wasn't ready to go home yet. So it was
Yeah.
it was sad, but I still celebrated.
Okay, that's really good to know. So, what are your inspirations? Like, what would you like to tell the young emerging singers who are supposed to begin their musical journey? What are your like suggestions to them?
Focus on what makes you unique. And the easiest way to find what that is lean in
Hmm.
toward the things that you like, the things that make you feel good. Do that. You know, you don't have to do what's
Hmm.
popular. You can do what you like. And there are people, if you like it, chances are there are other people that are going to like it as well. So if you stay true to that and keep going and accept the opportunities as they come, you
Hmm.
might surprise yourself with how far you can get.
That's right. So, Divine, what's next for you? What or how are you shaping your musical career now? Now that you're in a part of a band, so what next could your fans be expecting from you?
Live shows, live shows. I did my
Oh,
first, um, Divighn show where I'm the I
the
hate,
star, the show
I'm
star,
looking for it. Yeah, yeah, essentially like the headliner.
the head.
So I had a couple of friends open the show, and then we had a little DJ break, and then I went and performed for an hour. And so more shows like that, building the fan base, and hopefully as this grows, my fan base in Los Angeles will grow, and then my fan base in India will grow, and
Bhutan will grow.
yeah, and so then I get to start traveling to these places um, that vibe with me through my music, through my performances, and the way that I set up, the way that our performances are structured right now is a party. So
Hmm.
there's a dance floor, you get your drinks, get your food, and so while I'm performing, you can come to the dance floor and mingle with people who are very similar in the sense that they're all looking to have a good time. They're beautiful humans and they're fun and lively and everybody's nice. And you can, at every show that I do, people who didn't previously know each other become friends and like share
Oh,
information and start hanging out and stuff like that. So it's like one big family party. So you can expect more shows and more original music coming very soon.
so towards the end of the interview, I have honestly been a very big fan of the song Billie Jean. So if you could sing it a bit for us, that would be lovely.
Sure. Um, I'll say that for later. She was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said, don't mind, but what do you mean? I am the one who will dance on the floor and around. She told me her name was Billie Jean as she crossed the scene, and every head turned with eyes that dreamed of being the one who will dance on the floor and around.
That is very, very beautiful. Like, I really wish to be part of your performance someday and get to hear this lovely song. And Divine, it's been such a great time talking to you, getting to know about all your experiences, and what a lovely performer you are. And I wish you all the best for all your future musical career prospects. And yeah, it's been really lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope to be able to meet you in person one day.
That's so sweet. Okay, so yeah, have a nice day.
You as well. Bye bye.